Hi guys, I'm Pogo, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. As we thought, we complete the Dwarven Treaty and we're going to head back to the surface and start the one for Redcliffe. Critical hit. Rogue who attacks while stealth is guaranteed a critical hit. How'd you like that shit on the first target, provided the attack is successful. Oh my god, this is going to be so... I can't wait. I just want to finish the game. Cause critical hit. How you like that shit? Spew. Come on, Fnatic. Yeah, I picked Balin, didn't I still find it really... Okay, I didn't realise I could do that.
Is something the matter? Are you thinking about Branka?
Branka.
You loved her, didn't you? I've seen you so nice, staring off into the distance with such sadness in your eyes. You wonder if you did something that drove her away. You wonder if she would have stayed if you had done things differently. She must have loved you. Somewhere inside.
That sodding great Doomlicker had a heart clad in iron. She had only one love. The anvil. Later, the anvil. Only sighed because I was gassy. Finally let off a good one. Should be hitting you right about now. Silent killer.
No, I didn't realise you could do that. That's the palace. I think. That's the palace, yes. That's the assembly. That's the assembly, and that leads all the way down to, But that is the Diamond Core, I can tell. Captain of the Guard.
It's hard to believe we have a king again. I suppose the
Kills 1,357, 238 demons, 53 fantastic creatures, 19 golems, and 367 people. I'm guessing the rest is kind of like Darkspawn.
Fair journeys, Warden.
Fair journeys, Warden.
Give me a moment.
Sure, take your time.
By the stone. I feel like I'm about to fall off the world with all that sky up there.
Is it that strange to you?
Strange? Strange is your wife turning out to prefer the ladies, not living in a world without a bleeding ceiling. Well, let's get moving. We're losing, daylight.
That's we are. Right. Oops, wrong button. Ferelden. Mars now on the map. We will go back to camp and we'll see if anything happens and we'll decide the next move. So I might want to go back to Denarim. I want to go back there. I don't know. I really don't know. I need to decide, don't I? I really do. I think I do. I really think I need to decide. Ghost. Pet ghost. He rolls around happily on his back. Nyah, he's a good puppy. Zevra.
Here I am.
Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
What does it take to become an assassin?
Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process, and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field.
So you have to be a murderer.
Now, it need not be thought of so crudely. We all do our share of murdering around here, don't we? An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler.
I'd prefer a straight-up battle.
Then I don't imagine an assassin's life would be one for you. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
Is everyone disapproved by 5?
Here I am.
Can you teach us to be an assassin?
Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see.
Well, I'll respect your word.
If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows?
Everyone agrees by 2. I'm going to speak to everyone a bit and the rest of the claims.
Here I am.
Can I answer questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Why did you want to lead the crows exactly? Please.
Well, now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
You didn't choose to join the crows.
To be truthful, I didn't even know the crows existed when I joined them. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die.
That system works?
Of course. You compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
So what is it you fancy exactly?
I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied you?
Not at all.
This is good to know. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. Now, naturally, I go where you go.
I'm happy to have you along.
And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
So everyone proves +8.
Hmm.
Can I answer some questions?
All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so.
Tell me a little, what is your opinion of the Dalish?
I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease, and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. All is tale in the book.
Was the woodcutter your father?
How should I know? My mother was a whore, as you'll recall. None of the other elven boys in the whorehouse knew their fathers. I was not so unusual. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating, until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear.
I'm so sorry for you, Zevran.
That's very kind of you to say, but it is not necessary. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all.
You can say that again.
My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again.
How do you feel about Dalish in general?
I don't feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city, even deep in Antiva. I even had the notion once to run off and join them. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
Zevran improved by +2.
Hmm.
Can't answer some questions.
All right, but I get to stare at you luridly
Tell
while
me
you
about
do so.
Antiva.
Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this
And it
fire.
has assassins.
Every land has its assassin. I hail from the glorious
Sorry,
Antiva
guys.
city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable?
I am from Denerim.
And it's a fine enough city, I suppose. Though it rather looks like someone spilled all the houses on top of a mountain and called it home, no? You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most.
Now that is odd.
I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crap. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell
It's
of
not like
fresh
you've
leather
been
is
away
what...
from home forever.
Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in a store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no?
Your home is still there, Zevran.
True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Even Grey Wardens who spare the lives of assassins? Understood. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal.
Let's do it again. Guess I answer
Alright.
questions.
But I get to stare at you luridly while you
Let's
do
just
so.
move on, actually. We can see if we can give him anything.
Is that for me? I am impressed. Like that.
There we are. We'll speak to... So what quests we got? Okay, we're going back. Towards my first. Oh, the thingy. we best head back to the thingy. Frostback Mountains to speak to this Farron.
Yes.
Indeed.
Frostback Mountains. Do this, then like give it to the map and then cut the video off. I think that's what we'll do.
I've told you what I know. You'll excuse me, I've had quite enough.
Oh, what? Is my thing lagged out? Okay. I think my thing might be lagged out. Okay, that was a waste of time. I think. Two in a constitution, one in willpower. One in dexterity, sorry. Shield mastery. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time in Dragon Age Origins. Hey guys, bye.